What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the lab with another quest build. For those of you just looking for the final specs on this hatch, go ahead and skip to about the 5-minute mark. But other than that, let's go ahead and hop in the builder and start cooking up this blueprint.
Get out the mustard. We got a hot dog in the house. Oh, babies.
Alright, so I'm bringing y'all a blueprint to one of the rarest names in all of NBA 2K23. It's been disrespected for years, but this version is an absolute monstrosity on the wood. You're going to be disrespected off rip. People are going to think you can't do anything of worth when lining up opposite of this build, but this thing has pedigree. This is part of that fraternity that would have skipped college, went right to the pros out of high school, might be a little bit of a knucklehead between the ears, but is physically one of the most imposing specimens that you will come across in the city on 2K23. This thing right here has shades of Tim Thomas, LeBron James, Bill Walker, Dwight Howard, and Andray Blatche. This is the 6'11" prospect. Just like Tim Thomas, Tractor Traylor, Lamar Odom, this thing is part of an exclusive fraternity of absolute freak athletes. All those dudes absolutely tortured their opponents in high school. They were bigger, faster, stronger than everybody they went up against. And then once they got to the pros, some of them shined. Some of them rested on their athletic laurels and didn't necessarily take that next step to becoming an absolute superstar. So this thing has an incredibly high ceiling a la LeBron James, but somewhat of a very low floor a la Eddie Robinson. Those of you who might not even know who that is. So we're going to make this at small forward. This thing is a 1 through 5 demon. Jumping right in, you're going to be 6'11", 246 pounds with a max 7'9" wingspan. And you know we're going body shape built because we want to look menacing on the wood. And when you do get matched up against your opponents, you want to be physically imposing because you are an absolute freak specimen built in a laboratory. So follow along to a T to get this name and then tinker at your own discretion in your builder. But we're going to start with our close shot to a 79. We're going to get our driving layup to an 80. That's going to give us some nice layup packages. We're going to get our driving dunk to an 81. Our standing dunk to an 80. Give us those big man contact dunks. And then our post control to an 82. It's going to be a badge thresh. It's going to give us 22 finishing badges. This thing is very well rounded inside and will dominate those smaller wing or guard type players if you get matched up against this thing. And at the 3, you know you're going to have some peanuts on you. You're going to be well fed on this build, trust. Shooting wise, we're going to get our midi and our 3-ball to a 79. If you go higher than that, it'll probably change the name. Then we're going to get our free throw to a 79 as well. Just make that again well rounded, very balanced. It's going to give us 19 shooting badges. Going to be able to hit middies and 3-balls, be able to go to the free throw line, knock down some late clutch free throws. And in playmaking, we're going to get our pass accuracy to a 78. It's going to be a badge thresh. Then we're going to max out our ball handle to a 70, get some nice animations with that, and then max out our speed with ball to a 63. That's going to be another badge thresh. That's going to give us 15 playmaking badges. You do get a bronze tier 3 badge. Might I recommend throwing +4 in playmaking to make it symmetrical, yet you do want to be able to capitalize on some of the playmaking abilities on this build. It's got that Lamar Odom, that Tim Thomas kind of monster wing type player who can handle the pill and make plays for your team. And someone at this size really shouldn't be able to move like this thing can. And then defensively, we're going to get our defense interior to a 68. Going to get our perimeter defense to a 72, max that out. Get our stealies to a 73. Get our blocks to an 88. That's going to be crucial on this build. Get those Hall of Fame chase downs. Then we're going to get our defense rebound to an 85. And then our offense rebound to a 64. It's going to be a badge thresh. That's going to give us 22 defensive badges. If you go higher on certain categories, it becomes a scrappy wing or a paint protector. Very hot, rare names in this tree as well. And scrappy wing, if you're going to go that route, you can completely maximize certain defensive categories and make a really gruesome scrappy wing. Might be making a build like that on the channel coming soon. But to get the prospect name, you can't go higher than some of these threshes. And 22 defensive badges is going to be very nice defensively, guarding 1 through 5. High block, good defensive rebounds, and you're going to see how physically imposing this thing is. We're going to max out our speed, max out our acceleration, get our strength to an 86. It's going to give us that gold brick wall. get our vertical to an 82, and then put the rest on stamina to an 84. So giving this build a once over, 22 finishing, 19 shooting, 15 playmaking, and 22 defensive badges. If you throw them plus 4 badges to playmaking, it's a very symmetrically imposing monster. This is basically a jack of all trades or a well-rounded wing in years past, but having that prospect name is going to completely blindside your opponent. When you can shoot, you can score inside, you can block shots, and you can make plays. It really doesn't have any weaknesses outside of not being elite necessarily in any category, but the physical ability on this build at 6'11 with a max wingspan and gold brick wall is going to be elite from a physical standpoint. And that's going to catch a lot of your opponents off guard, because the only prospects I've seen really have been like the Tracy McGrady, Kobe Bryant type guard and wing type builds, but this thing's an absolute monster. Imagine lining up against this in high school. Like, this is an absolute 5-star phenom, McDonald's All-American type build. Extremely well-rounded, and in the right hands could be absolutely dangerous. But what I love about this is the takeovers. I tinkered specifically to be able to get this finishing take on this build. Shooting, interior D, and post. What I like to do on my build that I've invested in is advanced post moves and then finishing moves. So when you do get on takeover, you are an absolute problem inside. Doesn't matter who's guarding you, and you're going to end up with one of the rarest names in all of NBA 2K23, the Prospect. I'm telling you right now, you do not want to see this build on the other side of the wood. I guarantee you people are going to be disrespecting you off rip, on God swear, left side curtains. They're going to think you can't do anything. It is the most disrespected build in the history of 2K, in my opinion. Everyone thinks this thing is an absolute squish, but it is extremely well rounded. As you can see from the attributes, you're going to be able to dominate smaller opponents when you do get matched up at the 2 or 3 against wing and smaller guards. And if you do get matched up against a true big, you can step outside, play on the perimeter, and then do what you need to do to pull that big out of the paint. They have to respect this build in all facets of the game. And then having a prospect on your team, you're just going to have that chip on your shoulder. That, you know, the disrespect is real on this build. So those of you looking to play on an extremely rare build, I have not seen a prospect like this on 2K. I think this version would be an absolute force in the right hands. So what do you guys think of this blueprint? Is it worth investing that hard-earned VC into? We're halfway through the life cycle of 2K23. If those of you looking for a very rare hatch, would you consider investing in this build? I've already been playing on it, been absolutely dominating at the theater. Making guys quit on a prospect is extremely satisfying. One of the funnest builds I've ran on thus far. What do you guys think of this blueprint? Would you want to see other variations? Let me know in the comments, because you know what time it is. Quest Sparrow.